After Darwin, Herbert Spencer, the British philosopher, invented the brutal phrase, survival of the fittest, to describe the outcome of nature's process. But I really want to put my foot down here. They weren't describing the outcome of nature's process. That's the theory. What they were describing was the outcome of artificial selection, not natural selection. Artificial selection has proven itself over and over again in human history. But whether nature works that way is a theory filled with holes, and the holes are never discussed in school textbooks. A curious sidebar of all this is the strange fact that Herbert Spencer, the champion of Darwin from the far right, was actually the uncle of the legendary Beatrice Webb. Does that name mean anything to you? She was the founder of Fabian socialism. She's the only woman ever buried in, Westminster Cathedral? I mean, Beatrice was the big time where power is concerned, and she seemed to represent the left. But on Herbert Spencer's deathbed, they sat together and they both agreed they wanted the same outcome. Mrs. Webb would kill the unfit with kindness, and Mr. Spencer with harshness, but both wanted the unfit dead. That information comes from Kitty Muggeridge's biography of Beatrice Webb. That's Malcolm Muggeridge's daughter, and he was a big publisher in London, I think. In a book published 12 years after the article I told you about this morning, Darwin is much more direct in his analysis. He said, when an inferior race like the Irish crossbreeds with an advanced race like the English, man descends the evolutionary ladder. It marches backwards. And Galton, a much worldlier fellow than his cousin Charles, urged men of power to use the breeder's art to improve human stock. He wrote a book in 1869 that I know anyone in here would love to read. It's called Hereditary Genius, and I guarantee you it will be in libraries in Brisbane. He said this as a quote, "It's quite practical to produce a highly gifted race. The science to do this," he invented it on the spot, "is called eugenics." Cousin Galton instantly gained important followers all through the world, especially in the United States, though. His pronouncements on biology and schooling, he had lots to say about school being useful in this process, had profound effects. The statistical clouds which cloaked the nonsense of pedagogy and all the so-called social sciences, you know, the t-tests and all the rest, are a direct implantation of Galton, who was a world-class mathematician. Conversion from an older style of social thinking to a number-clotted, chart-racked, footnote-choked descendant form followed Galton's wish to make strategic social declarations seem to be scientific in mimicry of the hard sciences like physics and chemistry. In the 1920s, following Galton's advice, the United States Supreme Court ruled in favor of forced abortion of the feeble-minded. Buck versus Bell is the case. It's pure Galton, and it led to the death of 35,000 children of people who were feeble-minded. How were they determined to be feeble-minded? A family doctor would sign a paper saying that. And how do I know that? because in a famous case, a woman was about to inherit a huge fortune from her father, and I believe it was her brother had the family physician declare her feeble-minded, and the will said that if she were institutionalized, the money would pass to the brother.